Alright, ooh, gotta pause that. Copyrighted music. Alright. I forgot about this video. I did the best of one, and then, like, the next weekend I was gonna, like, film this one, you know, the worst of one, and then fucking, I just, you know, day job got all kind of crazy, and then I have, like, a con coming up next weekend. I was like, oh shit! I forgot to do my worst stuff, and it's fucking March! Jesus Christ! But I did my taxes, because that's what you do as a responsible adult. Anyway, so, as always, not a top 10 list, just kind of categorizing things in their own little categories, I guess you would say. Yeah, this list is much longer than the best of list, and anyway, here we go. So, first category, it's just Netflix. So, Netflix, it's, you know, the joke, the meme, whatever you want to call it, they come out with something like every day. They're like, have you watched the thing of the thing? And I'm like, no, man. Like, I've got stuff on my list since I fucking, you know, like, got this account ages ago. So, you know, I'm gonna need you to, like, settle it down, Beavis, you know? Anyway, so, the movies I got are The Perfection, Velvet Buzzsaw, Point Blank, I almost said Point Break, Red Sea Diving Resort thing, The King, and then Six Underground. So, The Perfection, I think it was like the last movie I actually saw, like, catching up on stuff for the year, and God, that's awful. So, what it is, and if you look on, like, I had it on my Instagram stories, but if you look on, like, my Tumblr, I have, you know, my kind of, I guess you would say, my live reaction to it. Anyway, so it's about two lesbian cellists. That's how we're going with this. Two lesbian cellists. Stuff happens. Anyway, like, so you know when I watched Atrocious, and I kind of was saying how it was ridiculous how the movie like rewound itself and all that stuff. This fucking movie does it, and it not just like with Atrocious where it was kind of like the third act, and it did make sense to kind of backtrack, you know, kind of, and also because it was found footage, so it made sense to rewind itself. This is not found footage. This is just awful, and it was like, let me just kind of rewind myself to, you know, explain to you what happened. But it's also like, if you're not a fucking moron, you kind of figured out what happened, you know? Anyway, a whole lot of shit happens, you know, like, bitch slips some shit into other, like, it goes from, like, this crazy thing of, like, these two girls are competing against each other because they're cellists, and, you know, how orchestra is, like, look at my violin over there, that's, oddly enough, just, it is, like, tipping at a 45-degree angle. I don't know how it hasn't fallen over yet, but there it is. Anyway, like, I don't remember when I was in orchestra how competitive I don't fucking know. Anyway, so, two cellists, just so happen to be lesbians, it seems. Then they, like, hang out, all that stuff. They're, like, in the middle of China, because that's always safe, which, funny enough, current events. They hop on a school bus to go deeper into the country of China, because, again, that's safe. And then one of the girls starts freaking out, and all I'm thinking is, like, I was like, that girl, like, the girl from Get Out, like, she drugged her, because she's the girl from Get Out. Like, you can't trust any other role this bitch is in, because she did so well in Get Out. Anyway, so then she's like, oh my god, there's bugs on my arm, oh my god, I gotta cut my arm, and you're like, dude, you're tripping on something. Then the movie's like that, and then, like, instead of, like, doing, like, a quick flash to being like, oh, I got the thing, you know, like, bloopity bloop, you know, like, that kind of stuff that normally what happens in a movie. It, like, literally replays the movie, like, when there's, like, an episode on a TV show, you know, and they can't figure out what to do, so they do the whole, like, here's an entire episode of, like, you know, 5-minute stuff, but it's from, like, every character's perspective, and we have a cast of 20 people, like, that kind of shit. It did that. It did the reverse. And then, so then it was like sometime later, you know, like we're back in the States, the girl's got, you know, like a no arm, you know, going on, and it's like, this happens, da-da-da, oh my god, blah, 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 all of a sudden, some shit happens, and you figure it out, like, you're not stupid, this movie thinks you're really stupid, you figure it out, and then it does, and then it fucking does it again, and again, instead of like a quick flash of, we got this happen. No, it like replayed it from again the other perspective, and it's like, oh my god. And it, like, goes from, like, this weird horror, I don't know what. Then it goes to, like, a revenge film. And then, of course, like, there's a child abuse, like, twist. You figure, again, you figured it out, you know? But this movie was like, did you see it coming? I bet you didn't see it coming. Because we're so smart. Because we're, like, a good movie. And I'm like, no, you're not. Anyway, so that was the perfection. Ugh. And then, so next is Velvet Buzzsaw. And it's like, you would think it would be at least interesting because Jake Gyllenhaal's in it. I think Daveed Diggs is in it. Some other people I don't remember. All I remember is that Jake Gyllenhaal's in it and you get to see Daveed Diggs shirtless, and thank you for that. That I also have, like, again, on my Tumblr. And I don't know, this one hits close to home, but really, as an artist, this one was just like, oh god, like, you know, like, you watch some shit, and you're like, oh yeah, that's totally me, and like, that's funny, that's pretty good satire, or whatever, but this was just, like, fucking ridiculous. It's like, talking about how, like, the art world is, like, all doggy dog, which it is, and it also isn't, because there's, like, really cool people that will help you, you know, that kind of stuff. And it's like talking about, like, oh, there's this gallery and this art will kill you. You know, it's just fucking stupid, and it perpetuates the fucking idea that that's how, like, all artists are, you know, that kind of shit. You know, it's like the television portrayal what an artist is, and then you go to actual art school. God damn it, my phone. You go to actual art school, and you're like, again, like, there are the artists that are like that. They're like, I'm deep meaning, or like, I'm so different because I, you know, like the shit you see on Instagram. They're like, oh my god, like, this portrait is ugly, but did you know that she smeared dog shit on her face and rubbed it on it? It's Anderson Cooper, you know? And people are like, oh my god, the process is so insane, I can't, and then, like, you do, like, you know, your own shit, and people are like, what is that? Like, are you seeking help? Like, I need to seek help? This bitch just, you know? Like, yeah. I definitely have issues with this movie in general, but then also, like, it's just the subject matter just got me, like, you know? The people are like, oh my god, art's so easy, you can totally make a lot of money. And I'm like, yeah, if you're full of shit, you know? That's why I'm here, just rolling in the dough, because I'm just, fuck. Anyway, there's that. After that, as I'm just moving papers around, is Point Blank, and that has Frank Grillo and Anthony Mackie. And I watched it because it's like, oh hey, we got these two Marvel guys in a movie together. And it's stupid. Again, it's fucking stupid. Anthony Mackie is like a nurse something, and Frank Grillo is Frank Grillo, like he is in all his movies. And so, like, Anthony Mackie is like, I'm gonna help out Frank Grillo for whatever reason. Anyway, they come after both of them, again, like you do, because it's one of those movies. And it's like, okay, fine. But then there's, like, this side character, and I call it, like, the Kevin Hart character, because he very much has, like, a, like, that, the oh my god, Kevin Hart, that's a little bit more Chris Tucker, but you get what I mean, because Kevin Hart now is what Chris Tucker was then, you know. And, but it's also, like, this, like, he's, the guy is really into film, and, like, wants his whole gang, you know, like, to watch, like, Criterion films. Like, I don't, yeah, this is exactly the movie. Like, there's the main plot point of Frank Grillo and Anthony Mackie, and Anthony Mackie's helping Frank Grillo for reasons. And then you got this guy that, it's just, yeah. Anyway, so the next one is Red Sea Diving Resort. We all know the only reason we watched it was because Chris Evans is in it, you know, and Chris Evans is, like, full naked, but it's, like, the side, you know, you see, like, side ass and all that stuff, which pretty much, like, when he did Not Another Teen Movie, we saw, like, everything, and so many of his movies, he's just like, ladies, and you're like, yes, I would like to order one, please, you know. That's the only reason why you watched it, because you got, like, semi-long hair bearded Chris Evans, you know, he didn't have to wax his chest, you know, but they did have to cover up his tattoos, so I was a little upset about that, you know. But, you know, he wasn't waxing the nines like he usually is, you know, again, like, semi-nuded. But other than that, like, it's based on real shit. Like, that's another thing. It's like, it's based on a real thing that happened. But they couldn't, like, don't know, I don't want to say like sensationalize it or make things up to make it more interesting for a movie, but my god, they could have like made it more interesting in some sort of way. Again, you're just there like, cool, Chris Evans is there, you know, great utilizing that. It's like, it's also like, okay, fine, you know, he's like all the movies all the movies Chris Evans did in between his Marvel movies, he has a beard in all of them. It's like, yeah, anyway, the fuck is this? God damn, this piece of paper is shifted like a mile. Anyway, after that is The King. Now, this movie is definitely very, there's crumbs on my stomach, I'm fat. There's, definitely, oh my god, this movie's polarizing. It's either people really, really love The King or people really, really hate it. I don't hate it. I was just like I wanted more from it because it was shot beautifully, the sets were amazing, you know, the costumes were great, you know, you got a good chunk of good actors, but, you know, I was bored. I was really bored by it, you know? And one of my colleagues, like, he was like, well, if you think about it, you know, back in the day, you know, like, things would be kind of boring like that, and then excitement would happen. I was like, I get it, but again, it's like, this is a fucking movie, oh my god. Somebody throw a pie, you know? Like, and the only, it's also, like, the main character is Timothée Chalamet, and I was like, I don't care, really, for that kid. Like, Call Me By Your Name was good, you know, but it was like, but it was also, well, it's not technically modern setting. Well, I guess more modern than The King, because it was, like, in the 80s, but you get what I mean. But, like, I don't know, the only, like, pretty much I was just waiting for Robert Pattinson, like, to show up in the movie, and it's like, he could definitely tell that he, like, took some great cues from Michael Sheen, because he was, like, hamming it up, like, zombie, you know, like, cause he had, like, that long hair, and he was just like, like, that was entertaining, but I was like, god damn, all this for Pattinson, you know, doing it for Pattinson, god, me 10 years ago would have been like, what the fuck, you're defending Pattinson? I'm like, don't worry, you'll understand, you know. Yeah. After that, the last one is Six Underground, and that's the, I almost said the wrong Ryan, the Ryan Reynolds Michael Bay movie. I mean, that's all I have to say is Michael Bay. The interesting idea of the movie is, like, it's 6 people, and Ryan Reynolds is, like, a rich guy, and they do heists and stuff, and it's an interesting idea, but it's Michael Bay, so you know it's like, explosion there. Like, I was mad because within, like, the first, like, what, like, 15 minutes or something, they killed off Dave Franco, and I was like, I was really enjoying Dave Franco as, like, the getaway driver, you know? Like, it's Dave Franco, you know? Okay, fine. What's his name? Ben, that's it. Ben, who played, Roger Taylor. Took me a second, I was like, did I say the name right? Yeah. In, Bohemian Rhapsody, he plays, like, the parkour guy, you know, like, again, because it's Michael Bay, you know, stunts look great, you know, as much as the action shit thing, the way how he shoots it, you could still understand what's going on, as much as that happens, you know, explosions happen, all that stuff, you know, it's shot like, you know, like a Michael Bay movie, and it's actually done a little bit better than his previous stuff. Like, I guess he figures out, like, maybe I should do some, like, nice panning establishing shots, and it's like, oh, these are great establishing shots, Michael, thank you. But story-wise, it was just kind of like, it was like, Ryan Reynolds made it better, you know, like, other than that, everything else was just like, you know, again, you get this cast of characters, you know, you get, like, this cast of, you know, like, pretty well-known people, and then it just falls apart. Again, like, you kill off Dave Franco immediately, because him and Ryan Reynolds could have went back and forth with, like, yeah. But anyway, yeah, that was, I was like, how much I have to explain, like, how bad a Michael Bay movie is? It's like, it's a fucking Michael Bay movie. Yeah. The next one, it's just as random, because I couldn't fit this in a category. It's just random. The movie Anna. Like, you thought, like, you were gonna get, like, another, like, Atomic Blonde, but instead of it being, like, Charlize Theron's amazing ass, it was just, like, this, like, model girl, you know. If you thought you were gonna get, like a Atomic Blonde Lucy kind of thing, because you got, like, this pretty person, and I love every time, like, a pretty woman does like an action movie, whatchamacallit, she's always like generally blonde. You know, Atomic Blonde, Lucy, this movie, even like Salt, because Angelina Jolie was blonde. You know, she doesn't look good blonde. But then there's always like a scene where they either like dye their hair. Well, in Salt she dyed her hair, but it's like now it's like a pop on a wig, or in in Lucy, like computers happen. You know, it's like do the hair dark and all this stuff, and it's like okay, fine. But anyway, so like the action scenes for Anna, like the fight scenes, were done really well. But here's the big but. So, whereas something like Atomic Blonde, us also knowing Charlize Theron's work, we know like yes, she did her own stunts. She was really quick with stuff. There was also times in Atomic Blonde where they would shoot like especially that one last scene where she was tired and just grabbing ice picks and shit. It was like a single shot, you know, so you could really see like an entire fight, you know, like they knew what they were doing. Whereas in Anna, it was very much like, I don't want to just say like generic action, like, you know, it didn't go in the style like Atomic Blonde where like they either like made the shots longer so you could really fully see it. It didn't go too quick cutty Michael Bay kind of like, oh my epilepsy. Nor did it do like great fight action like The Raid, like those movies, you know, like I'm thinking Indonesia, right? Yeah, like those movies, or like what's it, the night come us the night has come, that fight movie that was on Netflix. That was a good movie, but like not with those fight scenes where like the edits matched, you know, like it wasn't any of that. It was just like you can see like moments where like she's like and it's like, you know how like in a movie sometimes you shouldn't be doing it in slow-mo because you could be like, you could see like she's like boo, like she's like right here, it's like, and the guy's like you know, like you could kind of see it being like, maybe you like angle it just like a 3/4, not like, you know, like if it was like this, you'd be like, you wouldn't think, but it was like, hey, whoa, stops like dead, you know, you're kind of like and then there are parts where like it felt, oh my god, I just realized it felt kind of like the Iron Fist like show where it was just like everyone was adjusting to the actress, whereas again with something good like Atomic Blonde, it's like it looked like two people were actually fighting, whereas in Anna it was just like everyone's like, I'm gonna be fast and da-da-da, but when it comes to her they were like, okay, whoa, and then she's like, yeah, you know, and it, of course the trailer made it great because they were gonna speed it up, slow it down kind of shit. God, I forgot what the plot of this was. I think she was pretty, and then she was a model, and then they were like, let's recruit her. I'm guessing that's usually what happens. Or am I mixing that up with Red Sparrow? Although, all these films do that, you know? Like, they all want that thing going on. But anyway, next category, Disney. And it's Disney live action stuff. So, I have Dumbo and I have Lion King, even though Lion King's not really live action. So, Dumbo, I really don't remember what happened. I just remember being, like, just like, oh, okay. I didn't have expectations for it, but I was still kind of like, oh, well, this happened. Yeah, I don't know, man. I gave it 2 stars. I just remember being like, you know, I don't know. Just, I get it. Disney, you want to keep your IPs like really hard, but fucking hell. Then there was the Lion King thing, yeah. The 3D animation thingamajigger with the animals, that looked good. Looked good. It would have been great, but it was good. And the reason why it wasn't great was because we know the source of the Lion King. We love the emotions that they were able to give, you know, the cartoons. Whereas here, they were trying to make it, like, too realistic, you know? So they're like, you know, whereas, oh my god, like, half sentences here and there. Whereas in the cartoon, they were like, whoa, like that, because they're animated in so many ways. But in the this live action one, they were just kind of like, whoa. Like they couldn't, because like actual lions don't go whoa like that. And it's just, you know, like, I'm gonna nitpick like hell because it's the fucking Lion King. Like, you don't fucking do that. Like, when they did the live action one of like the Jungle Book, that was like pretty good. Also, there was like an actual person there to like play off of, you know what I mean? And no one was, and they were playing it. They weren't trying to make it. No, they weren't gonna go as goofy as like the animated one. But anyway, we're not talking about Jungle Book. But yeah. So again, I'm gonna nitpick because also like, it's the Lion King. It's my childhood, you know. I'm gonna be that person where it's like, you ruined my childhood. No. But again, because of the impact of it. So if you think about it, the scene where Mufasa dies is a huge like scene, you know. You're just like, oh my god, you know, like the whole like, no, like the zoom out, you're like, no, long live the king, and you're like, oh shit. You know, and of course it's also voiced by Jeremy Irons, so you're like, ah, shit, you know? But whereas here, like, you know, he did, like, you know, Scar does the thing where he holds him, you know, down, he's like, long live the motherfucking king. But instead of, like, pushing him off, like, fuck you, bitch, and Mufasa being like, no, like, that kind of stuff, he just kind of, like, just swipes at him. He's like, long live the king. But it's not even, like, a good, long live the king, you know, like fucking Jeremy Irons shit. It was just kind of like, oops. And then he just kind of goes, meh. And then Mufasa's like, shit! And you're like, oh, and you're like, this is it. This is it. This is it. This is it. You're like, this is the movie. And once they get into like adulthood, and Donald Glover is great. You know, like, we're around the same age, so like, you know, we grew up on this, so, you know, again, impact and all that stuff. So you can tell that he was so excited to like be in this movie, because like him delivering his lines, you can even like hear that he's like smiling because he's like, I'm Simba, da da da. But then he's like playing opposite of fucking Beyonce. And, like, Beyonce, girl, you're a great entertainer, you can sing, dance, you're gorgeous, you're amazing, and everyone says you're amazing, and we all know you're on this pedestal, you know, all that stuff. But my god, stay away from acting, you know? Like, stay away from acting, because that's not your forte, you know? And I get it, as someone who also does a lot of shit, sometimes there are certain things you're just not good at. And it was just even more apparent, because it was opposite of Donald Glover, who, like, seemed to give a fuck. Because she really sounded like she phoned it in, you know? And I mean, it's not excusing it, but I mean, if they both kind of were like, I'm delivering my lines, it's like, oh, I'm also delivering my lines. I'm delivering my lines. Then you're like, oh, God, no one really cared about this. But when you have someone who is like, hey, da-da-da, I'm delivering, but, like, you know, oh my God, I'm so excited. And someone else being like, oh, Simba, so then, you know, and you're like, it's not the same energy. Like, it's not the same energy I'm getting, you know? And, of course, because, you know, Beyonce, she's so important and have things to do, and she probably had Disney come to her home to record it. I'm just making things up, you know? Instead of how back in the day, if they have, sometimes, not all the time, they'll have, like, the two actors in separate booths, but, like, you know, they'll see each other so they can play off each other pretty well. Not all the time. I know, obviously, with voice acting, that's not how it always works. But, you know, again, experience in voice acting and in acting, I don't think Beyonce has the experience of playing off of no one, you know? It's like, and I just feel like people in the booth were like, you know, they're kind of like, okay, alright, can you give that to me one more time? Just, try to sound excited. Oh, I'm excited. I'm Beyonce. Can you tell I'm very excited to see Simba? You know? And then Simba's like, oh my God, Nyla! And you're just kind of like, whew. And even the singing, like, you know, even the singing parts, she's like, you know, it seemed like she phoned it in as well, you know? Like, and it was funny because we were talking about it today at work, and we were saying, like, maybe had not, like, we get it, you wanted, like, the name, I was supposed to say brand, you wanted, well, she is a brand, the brand recognition, all that stuff, but, like, there's so many other actresses they could have had that would have delivered, you know? They could have done Lupita Nyong'o or Denai Guerrera, you know, like, people who, like, can, you know? But I could go on, like, forever about The Lion King, because I was just, man, it's just not good, man, you know? Like, the good parts were, like, Billy Eichner did a great job, and it's so funny, because it's like, he's doing all, like, this great singing stuff, and then you got Seth, like, this is me singing, I'm Seth Rogen, this is what singing sounds like, that kind of stuff, which is fine, I get it, you know, like, they wanted him more for his voice, like, just his, like, voice, than his singing ability. But it's also, again, kind of like, where you've got, like, Billy Eichner is, like, delivering a song, song, and then you just, like, slide in Seth Rogen, like, you know, just like, oh my god. It's like, god, it's like the episode, like, the musical episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, where everyone is, like, performing, and then Will is like, I think my line is just filler, because, like, she just was like, that is filler. Anyway. So moving on. So the next category is remakes, and we have Pet Sematary, and we have Hellboy. So with Pet Sematary, what did I give? No, that's not Pet Sematary. Pet Sematary, I give it like 2 stars, and because it's been so long since I watched, you know, the original Pet Sematary, so of course I watched that before I saw this, and I remember seeing the original one, and I'm like, alright, this is still, like, the thing I remember it to be, you know. And then you watch this one, and it's like, I think when I saw the trailer, I even said, like, it's giving off, like, very much this, like, Final Destination feel to it, you know, like, it just wasn't working. It's funny, because this is, like, a remake, it's supposed to be modern or whatever, but it feels like it holds up less than the old movie, you know, like, it just didn't work out, and it does that, like, again, it's been, you know, a while since I've seen the movie, but from what I can remember, just like a lot of times when they remake movies, they like, okay, let's modernize it, and then let's a jump scare, you know, they do that thing where you're like, that's not why people like the previous film, you know, it's like that thing where they're like, well, that's what it was, like, and that's how it was scary back then, that doesn't work now, and it's like, no, it's still good, you know, it just wasn't good. It just wasn't good. Then the next one is Hellboy. It's just, man, that was a whole lot, man. Like, it just feels really mishmash. You know, like in the review Paul and I did, we said enough. We really did. It was just, like, I really felt like I was like the Chrissy Teigen meme, like when I was watching the movie and I was like full cringe the entire time I was watching it, you know? And it was funny because earlier that day we were dressed as like Hellboy characters, and even people saw us and they were like, oh my god, your costumes are great, sorry about your new movie, and we were like, god damn, dude. Especially like I know an artist who worked on, you know, like the original Hellboy movies, you know, like a lot of people I do follow and love, they worked on the original one, and this one, it's like, I don't know, I like the Hand of Doom being round, like the kind of section thing, that bothered me, him having long hair, I don't know, like, again, I know it's like that in the comic, but I'm like, you know, just, oh man, there's just, like I said in the review, it just felt like they were like, and go in the bag of, like, monsters, you know, like, where you could, you know, when you go on, like, prosthetic websites, and you can just buy, like, generic monster, like, these are horns, and, you know, this is, like, cat face, you know, this is, like, you know, like, distorted face prosthetic, you know what I mean, like, eyebrow, like, you know, furrowed brow, you know, and they just kind of stuck a bunch of this together, and then they painted it, and they're like, there we go, weird monster. They're, like, you know, like, again, they just went into, and it's like a face-off challenge, like, get in the bag, grab 5 prosthetics, and, like, create a creature. Like, that's what it felt like. A lot of it was just very generic, nothing felt different, nothing wowed me, you know? and it did feel cringy. It did feel very much a disappointment because also like Hellboy's such like it's good material. It's God, Guillermo did so amazing with it. Ugh! There's like that. There's like my frustration because of that, because of my love of what Guillermo like did to it. Like just God, fucking. But it's also like Mike Mignola himself like promoted the fuck out of this movie, and he's like so proud of it per se. I don't know if he really was. But he was like all active on social media being like, you know, and you're just like, bro, really? You know? Ah! And also it doesn't help that like this came out and then like a week or two later it was just like Endgame, you know? It was like, ah, ouch. Next category is sequels. Whoa, focus there went weird. The next category is sequels. And we've got Dark Phoenix and Men in Black International, I think that's called. Like, yeah. I almost said Mission Impossible International. Oh, God. Race to beat the clock. Will I get my camera plugged in before the battery dies? Let's see. And I look up in my phone. Oh, cool. Yes. Plugged it in before it died. That's how I do it. Almost lost my page. Stay there. Yeah. So Dark Phoenix, it is definitely the weakest film of like this new, you know, age of X-Men movies. My favorite one is still First Class. As I've said before, like, Future Past definitely felt like, because Jennifer Lawrence had won that Oscar, that they were like, well, we're just going to make Mystique the main character, even though we're really talking about, like, you know, Logan and stuff, but fine. And then, was it the Apocalypse one? There goes my phone. It's like, they really tried. Like, there was an idea they were going for. It was like they were trying to do their X-Men, like, I don't want to say Avengers Assemble, but like their X-Men Assemble, like the good X-Men fight. Like they wanted their X-Men, like the Last Stand shit to happen. And it's just, yeah. And then this one, I was like, yeah, you know, because what's her name? Sophie Turner. I like her as, you know, what's her name? Like Jean Grey. I do like her as it's just, this fell so flat. You know? It just, yeah, that was me the entire time I was watching. It was just like a lot of, you know, what rating I give her. Just, it was like, it was a lot of that just, yeah, and, you know, it was just a whole lot of that when I was watching it, just like, yeah. So then with Men in Black International, yeah, again, another, so, it's cool to see Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson working together, and they're not, you know, in Thor. Like, it's really cool. But, like, to have Hemsworth play the dumbass again, like, it worked in Ghostbusters. Here, it's like, you know that everyone in the Men in Black are, like, highly intelligent people, like, in their own form. You know, like, Will Smith's character, you know, like, you know, traditionally wasn't, like, that smart of a guy, but he had great common sense and, like, street smarts, like, that kind of shit. So, like, he had his own form of intelligence. But here, it's just, like, Hemsworth was just, like, a bumbling idiot. So you knew something was wrong from the jump. And then when it was revealed, you know, like, he got neuralized and his memory was all fake, it was like, oh. And then you realize, you know, Liam Neeson's bad. And it's like, really? Liam Neeson's bad? And then they were trying to do the whole, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, not switcheroo, but they were, like, sleight of hand. You know, they were like, look at the birdie over here, but you were like, just shut up, I know that's not, we're looking over here. You know, that kind of stuff. They were trying to be like, oh, you're probably gonna think this guy's the bad guy, but it's Liam Neeson. It's like, I knew it was Liam Neeson because that's fucking Liam Neeson, you know? Like, Jesus Christ. But yeah, like, and yeah, that just, that also, again, it fell flat. Again, the idea of it being, like, international, because whereas before, it was just all centered, like, New York and all that stuff, and the fact that, you know, it was, you know, it was like a little bit, again, international. It was like a nice idea, but at the same time, like, this didn't need to be. Again, it was cool that, like, the main character was, like, you know, a woman of color. You know, again, it's cool, all that stuff, and she's so smart and saw them when she was little that she, like, found the Men in Black and pretty much were like, I want to be part of your organization. You know? But, oh my god. It just didn't need to be. It just really didn't need to be. Yeah, so the next category, I call it Source, ? And I have Alita, Battle Angel, and The Kitchen. Now, before people just lose their shit over me about Alita Battle Angel, I am not shitting on the manga or whatever the source material may be. I'm talking about the movie itself. Please, it's like when I talk about Warcraft. My issue with it was, and it, if you know my reviews, is that the love story that was just shoehorned in there, you know? Like, you're watching it, and it's very interesting. You're like, okay, Christoph Waltz, you know, found her, fixed her up, was, like, teaching her shit. She seems very interesting. You know, it becomes, like, that story you're used to, like, a fish out of water kind of stuff. You know, you're like, you know, man out of time kind of shit, you know. So you're like, okay, you have that story going on, and you know, like, what's gonna progress. It's gonna, you know, you're gonna have a thing where, like, I'm not supposed to be chewing on this. Oh, put it down. Oh my god, you know, like, all that stuff. So you expect it, so you're like, okay, fine, you kind of get over it. But then, like, for her to, like, run into, you know, like, this 15-year-old boy, or however old he is, and then, like, him just being like, well, since we're in the future where, you know, people are pretty, like, cybernetic, cyborg kind of stuff, it's fine that I just immediately fall in love with this completely big, bug-eyed freaking bitch that I just met, and it's like, okay. And she's, you know, she's still very, like, fresh baby new, like, what? Oh, I don't have a favorite food. Oh, chocolate! I have a favorite food! And it's like, oh my god, like, when does she do the battle angel stuff? Like, when does she do that? When is she the angel that battles, you know? And the movie was a lot of that. I felt like it was a lot of me just waiting for things to happen. God, I forgot Jennifer Connelly was in this movie. Oh my god. But yeah, so it was just like, that kind of stuff just felt so like, you know, while you're watching it, because it's like, it's one thing if she's like, again, she's discovering that stuff. Again, I feel like if she was doing that with Christoph Waltz and, like, his helper lady or whomever was there, it would be fine, because it's like, oh, it's like a family kind of thing. But the fact that they just, like, threw this kid in, and again, I don't know the source material, so I don't know if that's, like, a thing that they have already there, or if they just made it for the movie. I was just like, oh, God. And then, like, because she's, like, you know, I guess friends or whatever with the guy, then he, like, teaches her how to play Blurns ball. And then, like, it felt like fucking pod racing. There was, like, a moment where she was just playing Blurns ball for a while, and you're like, okay, Blurns, oh my god, like, and I'm like, when is the battle thing happening? And it's also insane that this movie got pushed back, like, 1,000 fucking times. Like, for a whole fucking year, we saw a fucking trailer for it, especially because, like, my ass goes to see IMAX movies so much, so they kept trying to, like, sell this for IMAX, and so, like, every fucking time I'm going to see a fucking Marvel movie, which is all the fucking time, you know, like, it was just like, Alita Battle Angel, and they were like, isn't this out already? And then it's like, no, it's a different date. Okay, Alita Battle Angel. No, it was like Alita. It was just called Alita. And you're like, cool. But then, like the last, like 6 months before the movie came out, it was like Battle Angel. And it's like, oh, okay. Because you couldn't figure it out with the trailer where she just has, like, she's all mech arm, but she, like, grabs the guy's thing and twists it up, and it's like, ah, blah, blah. Does, like a handstand on a one finger shit, you know. It's like, that's already interesting. Why you got... Anyway, yeah, it's one thing, you know, there's something wrong when you have to, like, push a movie back that much, you know, and then, and, like, once, like, the battle shit starts happening, you're already in, like, the third act, and it's, like, just, like, a fart in a bag. Oh my god, Mahershala Ali was in the movie. Oh my god. A fart in a bag didn't make me remember Mahershala Ali, because I just realized how fucked up that is. But I was thinking about the third act, and I remember Mahershala Ali was in, oh my god, you got these Oscar winners in this fucking movie! You have Christoph Waltz, you have Jennifer Connelly, you have Mahershala Ali. Oh my god, you have these 3 Oscar winners. Casper Van Dien was in it. Oh my god, I forgot. Jeez. Oh my god, yeah, you have these people in it, and then, like, and you do nothing with them. And, like, again, visually it was cool because it has like that kind of cyberpunk feel to it, and I love that shit. But again, I just feel like, you know, like, the movie was just very like, what do you want, movie? Do you want me, like, to have this, like, futuristic love story? Do you want me to have this family moment thing? Do you want this, like, battling thing going on? I don't know, man. I just feel like Americans need to stop adapting Japanese things because you're not doing it right, because this doesn't make any fucking sense. I mean, except for Taika Waititi doing Akira, you know, like, that's it. Well, it's Taika Waititi, and he has free reign on a lot of things for me. But yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I'm not mad if you enjoyed the movie. Just for me, it just felt so like, you know, and I'm never mad at anyone who likes a movie I hate. Just it's called difference of opinion. Jesus Christ. Yeah. The next thing is The Kitchen, which I didn't even fucking know was based on a fucking... where did I click? I didn't even know it was based on, like, a fucking, like, graphic novel. I was so confused when I saw the fucking, like, logos. I was like, what? Okay. And this one had, like a interesting premise, you know? You got these 3 ladies, you know, they're married to, like, mob guys, you know, in Hell's Kitchen, you know, The Kitchen, all that stuff. And then, like, they're in jail, so they want to take over the business and then be strong, independent women, all that stuff, which do you, boo-boo. But it just, again, it just falls flat. It just, like, what the trailer showed you, like, oh, this could have been really cool. And it's also, like, it was good to think, like, oh my god, Melissa McCarthy's in a role where she's not, like, you know, like, the butt of the joke. She's not just, like, the loud, fat one, you know? Like, she's, like, you know, like, this, like, you know, like, my god. It's just, oh my god, Domhnall Gleeson was in this movie. I'm like, look at this, like, look at all these names, you know? Man, it was another one, like I said, I feel like with Alita, because, again, I don't know the source material, maybe knowing the source material and watching it, there was a better connection to it, understanding of, like, you were able to fill in the gaps, all that stuff, but, oh, man, like, again, the idea of, like, the whole, like, we're the mob wives, and we're taking over the business, and now we're kicking ass, and not letting these men beat us up anymore, is great, but then it's, like, it falls flat, and then there's, like, the thing of, I double-crossed you, like, oh, yeah, you thought we were, like, a trio of ladies kicking ass. Oh, actually, no, I'm a little bitch, and I went back to my husband, who still beats me, but we have all your money now. Like, it's like, my head itches just thinking about it. Yeah, it's not good, it's not good. Alright, so the next category is horror. Who's surprised that there's shitty horror out? Ow, my foot! We can't always have fucking Midsummer. Anyway, so we have Wounds. Just pushing my curtain here. We have Wounds, The Intruder, and Countdown. Now, with Wounds, it's something that was just, like, on Hulu, and it's got Armie Hammer in it, so I already knew there was something wrong with it. And I suddenly forgot what it was about. So apparently Armie Hammer is a millennial because we were, like, the same age, and yet he is a bar owner, and he bitches about millennials, so you know that's always great. It's like, Dakota Johnson's in it, Zazie is in it. What the fuck happens in this fucking movie? I don't fucking remember. God, I gave it a 1.5 star. My god. Let me think. Oh my god. I don't remember. Oh yeah, like someone leaves a phone because he's a bar owner, and then he grabs the phone, and he figured out how to unlock it, and then shit ensues from it, because then there's, like, messages, and he, instead of being like, well, someone left the phone, I own a bar, here's a lost and found, someone's gonna come claim it, he decides to, like, interact, because he's stupid, and then because he decided to do it, god, I just realized it's like, the fuck is that called? Unfriended? Dark Web? Yeah, where the guy was like, well, I decided to take this, laptop from Lost and Found, and look what happened. Now me and my friends are all being killed. You know, it's like that. It's Jesus Christ. God, I don't remember what the fuck else happens. Let's see. Going through some reviews on Letterboxd in case it's just to help me jog my memory, and it seems like everyone, like a good majority of the comments are like, someone's like, I'll pay you $50 if they can coherently explain to me the plot and ending of this movie. So I'm like, okay, it's not just that it's been a while since I've watched these movies, it's because that this movie, yeah, blah, this. Okay, so there's that. Then the next one was and that one is just like, I don't know, I feel like after The Nun, this, again, I know this is like based on like a urban legend or some shit like that, but it's doing that thing of like, alright, we have this spirit demon entity. We have an evil entity thing happening. So what we're gonna do? Paleface. Then we're gonna have black. And then we're gonna have striking, like, yellow lenses. Cool. Like, that's it. You know, like, it's the same thing again. And I think it's, like, pretty much the same makeup artist. It is. Like, a few of them worked on The Nun, and they also worked on this, so it was like very obvious it was the same makeup. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's just the idea behind was very interesting, but then the execution wasn't really. Oh yeah, like I said, because it was like The Nun. This is, ow! I just scratched one of my zits. This is connected to the Conjuring universe in some sort of fashion. Why? Why did you do that? Like, the Annabelle series, like, just, God, it's already bad enough, man. So the next one is The Intruder, and that's the one with Dennis Quaid, where, you know, he sells the house, but then fucking keeps coming back and is like, oh, he's mowing our lawn, he's being nice, and it's just, God. Like, the entire time you just wanted to, like, fucking slap the wife because, fucking, whatchamacallit, the husband is like, yo, why is he in our house? It's not his house anymore. Go away, sir, you sold us this house. And then the wife was just, it's like a fucking moron. She kept being like, oh, he's being nice. Oh, he's being so helpful. You know, like, this was his home, so he knows what's best for it. Like, are you fucking kidding me, bitch? Like, it's so stupid. Like, the entire movie is that. And then, like, he wants to, like, kill them. Obviously. Because that's what this is. And it's just so stupid. It's like this year's, what was the other movie last year that kind of started off like that? It's got Gabrielle Union in it. What the fuck is it? Where the fuck is it? I'm like looking. What the fuck? It was also like a home invasion kind of movie. What's it? Breaking In. Yeah, it's just like Breaking In. You know, but this time it's like they're a little bit more aware. I don't know. It's just that this didn't need to be. I knew it was gonna be bad. You could tell it was gonna be bad, and I still watched it because that's what I do. God, it was just so awful because like. You want to just tell the guy, like, dude, just divorce this woman because, you know, she's a fucking moron. She really thinks that Dennis Quaid is trying to be nice and all that shit. But instead, it's like, if you were sold a home and the previous own homer, yeah, kept coming back, wouldn't you be pissed the fuck off? You're like, you handed me the keys. I would, like, change the locks, because then he would, like, he, like, went to the shed and grabbed out the stuff. He's like, let me help you. And then, like, the husband's like, no, leave. And then the wife kept being like, oh, well, now he's lonely. He doesn't have a family. Ah! Yeah. So the last one on this list is Countdown. And it's like that episode of Futurama. He was like, I've created a death clock. You know, like that kind of shit. Or, what was that Digital Logan's Run movie? Or, like fucking Death Note, where, like, the thingy is like, I can see the time, da-da-da. And here it's like, you know, you download the app, you see how long you have to do the thing, wow, to live. What else was it? Someone's dying out there, sure. It's like 3 vehicles, like what the fuck. Um, anyway, as I was saying, you see how long you have till you die, and I think what it is that, like, if you don't die or somehow you escape death, then, like, you're fine. I don't know, it does, like, a weird, like, it does, it's, like, trying to do Final Destination, but, like, the main girl is trying to be, like, the girl from, like, Happy Death Day and trying to beat it, you know what I mean? And, like, granted, yeah, they did that with Final Destination where they try to beat it, but this one, it's like, she kept trying to, like, once she figured out what she had to do to, like, you know, beat the clock, but then still not die, because it's like, if you don't die on your it's, again, like Final Destination, if you don't die via the thing you're supposed to, like, it'll come back. Might not be right now, but it'll, you know, like, you'll cycle through. And so, like, she figured out, okay, I have to do X to, like, not die. Cool. But then, like, just like Final Destination, like, it snowballs like crazy. Like, it has to go in this sort of way. And, like, what do you call that? Like, yeah, it's just, oh my god. It's like God. It's like, if you had 3 days to live, and I had, you know, 60 years to live, then you'd, like, kill me so you get my time. You know? It's like, if you didn't die your death, then you'd have to kill someone with a longer, like, and then you get their time, because then you switch places. It's really dumb. I'm, like, really extra thinking about it now, like, because I gave it a half star on Letterboxd, and I hated it. Like, this one I could say, like, I fucking hated it. It was just so stupid. Like, it was, like, the predictability of it. And it's also, like, when it comes to these kind of concept or idea of a movie or whatever, you know, you can suspend disbelief and be like, fine, this is what we're doing. At the same time, if you break your own rules, you're like, what? You know, it's like the found footage movie where you're like, why was that a second take? Like, is that a second angle? Like, there's one camera. Why all of a sudden it's like, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's like that kind of shit. I think they did that, like, the first Paranormal Activity movie. You're like, is that a second angle? Anyway, yeah, it's like that where you're like, I'm taken out of it. You know, I'm fucking taken out of it. And like, what was like the second Transformer movies where I suspend disbelief that these robots are coming from space, but Shia LaBeouf's drink kept being full and then half full. I'm taken out of this movie, you know? Anyway, it was fucking Countdown. And the last category is called What the Fuck. And we have the two biggest what the fucks. We have the Fanatic, and then we have Cats. So the Fanatic, if you don't know, it's on Amazon Prime. It stars John Travolta because he's in like 1,000 movies a year that are just out of his own pocket, I'm guessing. And it's directed by Fred Durst. And when the credit came up for directed by Fred Durst, I just thought, God, man, I wish I was illiterate. Because that is not something I wanted to read. And it's, like, the movie has, oh god, my nose, has John Travolta and Devon Sawa in it, and it's, like, reverse Stan. Like, not literally reverse Stan, but it's, like, Devon Sawa is not Stan this time. He's the celeb, and John Travolta's the Stan. You know? And it's also, like, he couldn't just be a crazy, like, middle-aged guy, you know, following a celebrity and all that stuff. Like, can't just be that kind of stalker film. Like, okay, like, you can already see and understand that concept, because that does happen. But they decide to, like, add in the element that he's also autistic. And it's like, God, why? Why do that? Like, Jesus, you know, I mean, like, that community is already dealing with enough that, like, people are just throwing the word autism around, like, it's, you know, like, it's like the new, it's like the new retarded, you know, like instead of calling someone that because you're like, you're not supposed to say that word, they say they're autistic, you know, like it's the new thing, so why not, you know? And so it's like, oh god, so like I guess it explains why he's a middle-aged man with a backpack and a funny haircut, and he rubs the back of his ear and smells it, you know, and then he follows Devon Sawa around. Like, it's like, no, he could just be a deranged guy. Like, again, you don't need to add whatever. Anyway, so yeah, so he goes to, like, you know, he's a big horror fan. Devon Sawa's in like these movies, and then like this guy who like runs like one of those like local shops, whatever, is gonna have Devon Sawa there do a signing. John Travolta's character goes, he's so excited, he feels like, you know, Devon Sawa, like, we're connected, again, like, stand shit, you know, and then, like, oh, during the day, John Travolta is on Hollywood Boulevard, because, obviously, we're talking about, oh my god, we're talking about fucking, you know, Hollywood actors and stuff. He's on Hollywood Boulevard, one of those people, like, the panhandlers, and my nose is itchy, because I don't know what the fuck is going on, so that's, I guess that's how he makes money. Who fucking knows? And yeah, so finally he gets to Devon Sawa's home, and he, like, you know, it becomes like misery, and he like straps him to a bed. He like accidentally, or did he intentionally kill the maid? I don't remember, but that woman's dead. You know, and like misery stuff happens, and but like Devon Sawa shoots like John Travolta's fingers off. There's a whole lot of shit happening there. That was not good, man. It was definitely the entire time I was watching it. Like, I was literally going, what the fuck, what the fuck, what the fuck, you know? Have you ever watched the King of Comedy and wondered what it would be like, written and directed by the frontman Limp Bizkit, starring late career Travolta doing a horrifying impression of someone with autism running around LA with a rat tail and Hawaiian shirt? I have some very good news for you. Exactly. It's like, what the fuck is going on? Yeah, it's like half-star, yeah, just everyone fucking hates this movie. I love how everyone keeps mentioning that it's Fred Durst, because, you know, it's fucking Fred Durst. Like, it's great, dude, that you know, directed all the videos, the music videos, for your band, but, bro, the last 30 minutes is somehow predictable and unpredictable at the same time. Yeah, it's all over the place. Like, at least a lot of, like, okay, the bright side with a lot of these bad movies was that most of them were about 90 minutes. So you could just sit through them, breeze through them really quickly, you know, as shitty as they are. But my god, did some of those 90 minutes feel like forever, you know? Like, some of them felt longer than The Irishman, you know? Like, but anyway, that was Fanatic. And the last one, the beautiful one, the one that my light-up movie marquee is still written on, is fucking Cats. Oh my god. I know it's like such a meme, and like they probably ended up making a little bit more in the box office after all the shittiness, because people were like, okay, if it's that shitty, you know, because usually people are like, I don't want to see a shitty movie, and then there's people like me who just go. But then there's like, the movie is so bad, people are like, okay, it's so bad, we have to see it. You know, people are having existential crises all over fucking Twitter. You know, we have to go fucking see it. It's obviously still didn't make its box off, like its budget and shit back, but it still made some money. But my god, this was, like I said in my review, like literally a recipe of what not, like, to do for a musical adaptation, for a musical in general, you know, for like a film, you know, like as a visual effects artist, don't do this, you know, like, it's just not good, you know. And it's funny because it's like, that was like our first, like, with this new job I have, that was like our first bonding experience, like with my colleagues, you know. It's like our first bonding, like we all went out and we were like, it's New Year's Day, you know, new year, new me, go to see Cats. And we were just losing our shit. Like, some of us, not me, but some of us were still kind of hungover from, obviously, New Year's. Which made the experience more enjoyable, because they were, like, trying not to, like, you know, lose their shit, you know. But they were also, like, watching it. And they're just like, I'm like, yeah, dude, whatever you're seeing right now, it's exactly what you're seeing. Okay, I'm sober as fuck and I'm seeing it, you know. Oh my god. that was just not good. It's just so much just Jennifer Hudson's touch me, like, oh my god. God, and that came out of nowhere, you know? And I have to hear that song every day at work too, you know? Like, and like it doesn't hit you, like it swells up. But she just like snot bubbles and shit, and she's like, you know, like full pterodactyl, full voice, full everything, because it's Jennifer Hudson, just touch me! Like, you're like, and like I said, I flew back in my seat, you know, and I was just like, oh my god. And then, was it one day at work, we actually put on, like, the soundtrack, not the whole soundtrack, but we put on the song, I scrubbed it to that point, because, you know, a lot of times, not everything is Les Mis, not everything is, like, live singing, you know? So, like, so sometimes for a movie, they'll, like, have a version for the film itself, and then the soundtrack's slightly different. Sometimes it's all the same. But here, in the soundtrack, it was better. Like, it wasn't great. It was better because her, like, the swelling to her singing, like, it made more sense in the soundtrack. And her voice was a lot better. It's Jennifer Hudson. Her voice is always great, but it led to it. It wasn't just like she's singing and then she's like, ah! And you're like, ah, shit, you know? Whereas in the soundtrack, she was able to, like, music was able to swell up to that, you know, volume, and then she was able to be like, touch me! And you're like, oh, wow, okay. All right, you got it, okay. It was, like, cool, but then after that part, then she goes back into the, and you're like, oh, okay. And like, you're like, well, I think it's also she wasn't, like, crying singing, and again, like I mentioned, we all can't be Anne Hathaway, you know, in, like, Les Mis, where she's like, and then, like, hitting, like hitting those notes, and you're like, all right, because if I was in that, like, and then you try to tell me to sing, I'd be like, just, you know, that's what I would be sounding like. My god, yeah, like I said, this was such a recipe of, like, what not to do, like, just so bad. Where is it? What did I think I gave it a 1 star. It's funny, because then, like, a lot of people, like, that they gave it a half star. I gave it a 1 star, because it would have been a half star. It was a full star, because I was at least entertained by it. It was incorrect. Oh my god, then, like, there's, like, the tap dancing part where the guy came out with the high-waisted thing. Just the whole audience was losing its shit. You know? Like, we were saying, like, I think I said in my review where we were saying, like, that set gays back, like, 50 years. He came out like, ah, like, oh my god. Ah. Just so bothered by this. You know? Oh my god. I was drunk the whole movie, so I have no idea what actually happened. Oh my god. Here's the thing, I had so much fun. It was so scarring? No, I can't read. It's like if Robert Zemeckis directed an Aristocats movie in 2004. Oh my god! Oh my god! Yeah, and again, I mentioned my review, there was a thing with scale. It's like, sometimes it's like, they'd be, like, tiny, and they're, like, just the height of a curb, and then it's, like, they would be, like, tiny little size, and then sometimes it'd be like, oh my god, it's a fucking tiger, like, what is the scale of this, you know? Like, oh man, it's just, there's a whole lot of no going on. And I like that during the Oscars, like, Rebel Wilson and, god damn it, Rebel Wilson and god damn it, James Corden, like, they presented, like, best visual effects, and they dressed up, like, in the cat suits. And that was, like, even better than what the fuck you saw in the fucking movie. But at least they, like, knew to, like, what's the word? Like, take a jab at their own movie. Because, my god, it was not good. It was not good. My god. Like, it's just, oh, man. But yeah, this is a long video. That ends my worst movies of 2019. Filmed probably 3 weeks later than I should have or wanted to. Oh my god, man. Like, that wasn't good. Man, that wasn't good. That wasn't good at all. None of those were good. Like, it's funny because they were so bad that some of it I kind of forgot, which is a good thing because, you know, sometimes that's how you deal with trauma. But my god, man, yeah. Most of this stuff is like remakes and sequels, just Disney and like Netflix, you know, being insane. And like, no surprise, there's a section of horror because there's never good horror films coming out, you know? Like, it's, again, not everything be fucking Midsummer, you know? But, man, Cats, that's the highlight of 2019 is whatever the fuck happened with Cats. But anyway, alright.